Hi, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. DeEtte? Tell me how to pronounce it because that's probably wrong. Okay, so I thought I would make you a quick little video. It's going to be probably pretty disorganized because I'm just sort of looking at this and making it up as I go. So here is your file that you sent me. And right now I click on it and then I look down here and I see that that is a group of 20 objects. Okay, so I want to ungroup it. And now let's see if I say select all, it is 20 objects. All right. And so I saw what you were talking about here. If I take Rachel and try to, I'm going to make it a little bigger and try to union it in with this path union. And you're right, it disappears. Why? Okay, so here is what is happening. You have, and I'm not sure how you got these, if you traced something. If you trace something, I would probably recommend that we start from that point, but in this one, I'll tell you how to fix what you've got here. Okay, so what you basically have, and I'm going to separate these parts and show you. I'll just move them. All right. So each of these is actually a closed path. If I was to give this a fill, I come down here and click on that to give it a fill, you see that this is actually just one shape. So if I was to take Rachel and do the same thing, I'm just going to give that a fill and get rid of the outline, and I'll get rid of the outline on this one too. To get rid of the stroke, I'm holding down Shift and coming down here and pressing the X, and that just gets rid of the outline. So you can see if I take Rachel and union it to this shape, keyboard shortcut for union is Control-Shift+. Okay, it did union, but because you can see here's the little R sticking out, but it just unioned those two shapes together to make one big blobby shape. So I'm going to press Control-Z to undo and get it back to where it was. All right, and so, oh, the same thing with this shape right here. This shape, if I give it a fill, that is just, it's a solid shape. So essentially what you're going to want to do is to combine these two shapes together. So let me give this one a fill of navy, and then this one I'll give it a fill of gray. Okay, so you can see that what you want to do is you want to get it so that this navy part is actually the shape. And what you'll want to do is subtract this part from this part, okay? And so to do that, you want to make sure that the shape that you're subtracting is on top, and I'm just going to, it was a little bit out of line, so I'm holding down Alt on the keyboard and pressing the down arrow. If I press the down arrow, it nudges that piece. If I hold down Alt, it gives it a much smaller nudge. And I'm just going to try to line that up so it looks like it's fairly even. And this is why I would recommend going back to whatever you trace this from, and we can do it that way, and I can show you how to do that. But right now I'll just show you how to do it like this. Okay, so I've got those fairly lined up now, and what I'm going to do is make sure that my gray shape is on top and the navy shape is behind it, and then I'm going to hold down Shift to select both of those, and I'm going to do path difference, and that's basically subtract. Okay, now you see that that is a shape right there. We haven't taken care of these little cutout parts, so we'll do that right now. I'm not sure which ones to use. I think we'll go with the red ones. So what I'm going to do is zoom in. I'm going to click that blue one, and I basically want to select all of these ones that are outlined in blue and delete them. Instead of going through and holding down Shift and click to select every one, I'm going to show you a shortcut for that. So I'm going to click and select that one. Then I'm going to right click and this menu comes up. And I'm going to scroll down to select same. And then I'm going to come over here and scroll down to select same stroke color. All right, now if I zoom out hitting the minus key on the keyboard, you can see it's selected all of those things that have a blue stroke color. And I'm just going to press delete on the keyboard to get rid of them. And then what I'll do is I'll select this, and I'm just going to use the arrow keys to nudge nudge it so that it looks like these cutouts are in about the right place. And, you know, you can go in and move them individually also. And I will just leave it like this and you can take your time and make sure it looks right. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take these pieces and subtract them from this one. You could do it individually. You could take this one and do Control Shift minus, which is the keyboard shortcut for path. Whoop. It's not letting me get that path difference. Control minus. Or I can come and click and drag and select all of them at the same time. If I don't click and drag so that the floral thing is combined, then it's not going to select that. See, if I click and drag over the whole thing, all of it's selected. Then I can hold down Shift and deselect that, or I can just click and drag to select those ones that I want. Now I want to union those together, so Control Shift plus or Path Union. And now I can take those and subtract them from the wreath. So I could either do Control Shift minus or path difference. Okay, so now we've got that wreath looking the way you want. And let's see, if I get rid of the fill, let's see. You can see it's all one thing. And then if I give it a fill, you can see that's all one shape. You don't have a separate inside path and a separate outside path. Okay, so now I'm going to take Rachel and drag Rachel over and make it a little bigger so that it overlaps. And I suppose you will have a way. And I'm actually going to make it a little bit thicker by doing path outset. Now, to set path outset, you're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and then you will go down to, you'll click this little arrow beside Behavior and go down to Steps. And then here you'll see Inset Outset By, and I'm going to set it to 0.5 pixels. That's a very small step. And then what I can do, it's Path Outset, but the keyboard shortcut is Control close parentheses. So I'm just going to hit that a few times, and every time I hit that the keyboard shortcut, it will outset that path by half of a pixel. And before I do this, I'm just going to change that so it has a fill also. Okay, so now I'm doing Control close parentheses one more time. Three times total. You see it thickened that up. You don't have to do that. If you want to cut it out real thin, that's up to you, but I just like to make things a little thicker sometimes. So now if I take that and hold down Shift and select both of them and do Control Shift plus, which is the same as Path Union, you can see that it has unioned all of those together. One problem you're going to have here with your A, let me get rid of the outline. I'm going to hold down Shift and press X to get rid of the outline. That is a little bit, it's going to be a weak link. I might double click on this to get the nodes, and I might just click that node and use my arrow key to nudge that over a little bit to make that connection a little bit bigger. And then I will scooch over and do the same for this A. I've just hit the arrow key once to scooch it over a little. And that's up to you too. These are things, just little extra things. Okay, so there is that. And then again, the reason why it didn't work, if I revert, let's just go back and review. Let me revert. So file revert. It says I'll lose my changes. Yes. Okay, so now we're back to your original file. And again, you'll see when I ungroup it that all of these things are closed paths. And so then again, you have to go back in and subtract one path from the other to get that to be a hollow shape. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And if you want me to go through tracing whatever you got this from, so you don't have to do all that subtraction stuff. You shouldn't have to do that if this came as an SVG or some sort of trace bitmap that you did, then let me know and I can make you a video for how to do that part as well. Okay.